Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, I'm going to start the fabrication of an airbox for the 250 MX project. I had the PE airbox that I was going to try to make work, but it's just not going to do it. And I just really don't want to cut something up like that, because somebody somewhere down the line will be able to use it, and or I might even be able to. So I'm going to fabricate one out of aluminum. I've got a little bit to start with. I just came back from my local steel supplier, and at this time their shear is out of commission, and the aluminum that I'm looking for, it's pretty expensive because I have to buy a half sheet at a time. I can go online, I can buy a half of a sheet, but it's almost as much as a half sheet here at my local supplier. You know, so I'm just going to wait till maybe Monday. They think their shear will be back in commission by Monday, and hopefully I've got enough to get going here, and I may even have enough to finish the job if I don't mess anything up. That was why I wanted to get some extra, because usually when you're doing something like this, I've already kind of done it once. I cut something a little long and had to cut a piece off. So you know what I'm talking about when you're fabbing things up. You know, if you're measuring, you're trying to make it as you go along, you don't have any real measurements to deal or to help you through it, because it's kind of a strange shape in there. You just got to kind of make it as you go along and make sure that you can get it in and out when you're done. So let me get you over there and I'll show you where we're at on this thing. Okay, I've kind of got the shocks back off this thing, and I've just got 3 bolts holding the fender up so I can kind of build this in this space that I have. I've also got the CDI box that I support right here, and I'm not sure, I may have to move that, but if it hangs down in the top of the airbox a little bit, I don't think that's going to be an issue. One thing that I did have was I had a uni filter, a sock type here, that I don't remember what I got this for, but it didn't work. So I'm going to try to utilize this and just set it down in here, and I can actually cut this off a little bit, or if it sets up no more than that, it's not going to be a problem. It's you know, the seat will still clear it, but I think I'm going to have to cut it off a little bit so I can just shorten everything and it should be okay. You can see here, I think you can. I think I've kind of got you not in position here. Okay, you can see here where the air horn is. So I've got to be able to come out, and then this will set above the airbox. It'll be higher, and this will come in, and this will actually clamp on to the upper part of the box there, and this part down here will just be airspace. So that's got to line up, and now that's got to line up. So I'm not sure how I'm going to hook the two up yet, all that in good time, but here's where we're going. We've got to kind of work in this space and make it work. That's all we can do. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a piece back here, and that piece needs to be about 10 inches. This width is about 7. I'm trying to utilize as much space in there as I can, give it a good area to have air. So I think the more volume the better. So I'm going to try to take up as much space as I can here. So let me do some cutting and we'll see what we've got. Okay, I'm putting a little bit of a bend on this piece that goes in the back along the fender, trying to make that clear. This aluminum is 0.100, so it's pretty heavy. I think I would have liked to had some 083 or 080, something like that, but this is what I had. If I get any more, I'll probably try to get the 083. So we'll see how that works. Just a little bit of a contour to hopefully kind of match that fender in the back. Okay. That makes the most of my space in there, I think. So that'll help. I think what I want to do is try to mount it to the lower bolt on the rear fender mount, and probably we'll put a couple of tabs on towards the outside here so that I can I'll put a tab on each one of these, and then the same on the box, and we'll be able to screw it in and use the standard Yamaha insulators. Okay, got this piece in here, and this, we shouldn't come any lower than the fender, and then this piece here will be the bottom. I'm probably going to have to cut this off up here at the top. I think I made it a little longer than what I needed. So this is just going to kind of set in here like this, and I'm going to have to clear these corners a little bit so I can come up with my material. I want it, like I say, I want to try to utilize as much of this area as I can. So I'll probably come up to this area and then come across the top on both sides here, and that's going to take some maybe some cutting and fitting to get all that in there. Okay, I've got this tacked. Kind of how it's going to go, and I also cut the top off so that I can get to the lower mount. And I'm going to go ahead and drill a hole for that. That way I've got a constant that's not going to change, hopefully. And hopefully it's going to clear the fender. It did when I marked it. So let's see if it still will. I'm just going to try to drill that with a step drill. It should do it. Okay, I'm just kind of cutting some cardboard here to fit everything in. I'm just kind of wondering if I'm going to be able to get it in there after I assemble it. That's something I'm sure going to have to look at. I may have to change the mount back here where it's a bolt-in mount, where it bolts onto the piece that goes across here, you know, where I've got the rubbers. Yeah, I know you're not able to see what I was talking about, but I may have to make this piece here so it bolts onto this piece in order to get this box in and out of there. Just not sure at this point. This is going to have to be kind of a diamond looking thing here where it comes in to follow the contour of the tubing here, kind of lays in, and this has got to fit kind of like that. Okay, I'm going to have to rework this a little bit. I've got to get this up higher so that I can get under it and then draw from underneath this. The box needs to be completely enclosed, so like I say, this I can cut off and move down. That's a pretty big filter. I think it'll be okay. But I've got to get this up so I can get underneath it and come up with a 90 or a slow bend underneath. I'll probably end up using aluminum tubing to at least make the bend, and then find a piece of hose or something that I can connect the two with. But that's got to come up, and it's going to have to be about right there. That's what you do when you're trying to build on the run like this. So this is going to be back. I'm probably going to end up cutting these pieces out up here that mount the CDI box. But that's about where, that's about where that's going to have to go. So back to the drawing board. Okay, I need basically a 3-inch OD to slide the filter onto. So that's what I'm up to here. Okay, I'm gonna try something a little different here. I'm drilling a hole in here, and I got to put one in the end of my piece here, and I need to make that one a little bigger. Okay. The other outfit just wouldn't let me come around, and I knew that. I'm going to have to drill that a little deeper. Yeah, I probably ought to mark that. I'm sure I'm going to have to massage this a little bit, but I think that's going to give us the ring that we need to fasten the filter down to. Okay, I think I've got this rolled to the size I need. So I'll see if I can get it welded. Whoops, that didn't hold very good. My clamp. Let's try it again. Kind of got it started there, we'll see. Yeah, should work just fine. It'll clamp up. So that I can go ahead and weld in, and once we get it in there, I can drill the hole whatever size I need through the plate, and then we'll finish up the box, and then we can start on hooking the box up to the carburetor. And I think I'm going to use some aluminum tubing to come out and get that bend out of the box, and then after that we'll find some hose to hook it up. You see, that'll be welded to the bottom of the plate. I've got to do that before I box it in, or I can't get to it. So I'll do that, and the sock will just set right down on it. And I'll put a hole in the side of the box so I can tighten up the clamp, and just put a little rubber plug in it. That's the plan. So that should go in about like that. And like I say, we'll have to cut that sock off just a little bit. Shouldn't be any problem. Okay, we've got the filter holder, I guess you'd call it, welded on. I've got the back piece. I beefed it up on the inside too, since it's hanging on this. I plan to have at least two forward mounts also, but I've just got to see where they turn out. The next thing we'll be doing is cutting a piece for the front. It'll go from, you can't see my lines here anymore I don't think, but from here to here. And then we'll cut some for the side, and some of these it'll be kind of an angle here on the corner, just so to facilitate it going into the frame a little easier. Okay, so we've got the front on, and now we'll build the rest of it to fit what we've got. And first thing I probably need to do is go over there and see if it still fits in the frame. All right, may have to pull the fender out. I think it'll still all go in there. Well, looks like we're all right. Okay, and it lines up with our hole back there. So we've just got four pieces we've got to make and then assemble them. So I think we're heading in the right direction. And then our Your sock is going to go, it does fit that pretty tight. There it goes. And like I say, it's going to have to be cut down a little bit. It's all right. I just had it, so I wanted to use it if I could. If it's too restrictive, I don't know why it would be. But if something's wrong with it like that, then we'll deal with that later. But I think it'll be okay. We'll try to mount that, put a tab on both sides somewhere and mount it. It'd be more like maybe right here, have a tab down, and then with there we could probably just go right through the body of the box here. Okay, I've got a pattern made here of the two sides. Trying to see how this will be best utilized. I think it's like that. So we'll get those two pieces, and then we've got two kind of rectangular shaped ones. This thing is almost, I hate to use the word octagon because it's really not, but it's got some sides like that. I guess in the long run it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 6-sided, I suppose. Octagon's 8, right? I don't know. I think so. I guess the word I was looking for is hexagon. That's a 6-sided one, is it not? Okay, I've got this one over here. Got this one cut and ready to go in, so let me get that one tacked in. And they're a little bit, I've got a slight bend here on both sides so I can get it in. So I'll tack it on this side here and then clamp it down to meet this one. Probably, well, I'll tack here, here, and here, and then pull down. And then we'll do the other side. Okay, got the fender hooked up in the back here and just dropped down with the shock laying back. And I can get this in. So what I need to do now is try to get it all hooked up so I can find where I need to put my front mounts. One thing I find with this is I need a lot more hands than I have for a lot of this stuff. Okay, we've got a rubber cushion on the back. So I think what I'm going to do is cut a couple straps, one for each side right here, to drop down, and then I'll put a rubber insulator on both sides, and that way this whole thing should be insulated and shouldn't shake things apart too quickly anyway, I hope. And I've actually had to order some tubing to drop down out of the box, and what I want to do is make an elbow, and I'll just use slice cuts or pie cuts, I think they call it, to make the bend out. And then we'll just run a piece of 2 1/4 tubing, rubber tubing. I also had to order that from here to where that comes out. So hopefully we can kind of get these located, get these done, and maybe get the hole drilled in the bottom. And at some point when everything comes in, then we should be able to finish this job up. And just a little closer here what we're doing. Like I say, we're just going to drop down with a couple straps right here and then drill our, what was it, 9/16 hole, I think, for the rubber insulators. And those go into this piece. I think that's how we do it. Yeah, I think so. And then it just gets one bolt through it. And along with this one back here that we are already insulated on. And of course I'll put another washer and a lock washer on that. But that fits in there pretty good, and all I have to do is just drop the fender down. And I think you can see here, we'll be coming out of the bottom with, that's how we'll make our elbow. Coming down, drop to about right here, and then come straight into the carburetor horn with, and I ordered, it's a real flexible rubber Buna in, I think, tubing, maybe, I don't know, maybe Buna in and silicone, but it's supposed to be very flexible. So we'll see, you know, the more flexible it is, the easier everything will be to hook up. But, you know, it's just anything like that, I've got to order and wait for. It's just not something you can run down here and get. Most of the metal, you know, steel tubing, the exotic stuff, what I call exotic, 4130 or 1144 or something like that, they're not going to have that here in town. So I order that from a small steel supplier like Online Metals or Speedy Metals or Metal Marketplace. There's several of them. And that's just kind of what I've got to do. Now, Most of these air boxes for these bikes, they may come with a top when you get them, but almost always people remove them. And I know I did with my 400. It had a top and it had a kind of a snorkel coming up, but you know, there's not going to be any top on this. And like I say, this will come down in there, and we're going to cut off probably about this much of it. And just, let's see, I think this here, I'll have to look at it again. It's glued down here at the bottom. So we'll cut it off, move it down, and that'll give us a good filter, I think. And we'll just be cutting off about this much, probably an inch. I think with that much gone, the seat should still pop down there. Get our two brackets built here, and then we'll try to get everything lined up and get them welded on and get the insulators installed in the box. And they're going to go right in here, so I'll take a little paint off. Before I weld those on totally, I'm gonna make sure that I can get the box in and out with those in too. All right, let's get it drilled. I think that's the one I want. I don't know, I think I need to go one more. Yeah. Okay. Wonder if it'll fit. Okay, there's the inside. So it's good and sturdy, and it's suspended with those insulators. So we'll need to drill a couple of holes right here in the front for a water drain, and then we need to drill our 2 1/4 inch hole there in the middle of the where the filter clamps on. That's the low spot, and of course when you set it on the kickstand it'll be over that direction, so should help things. Okay, so now I'll get it set up to drill our 2 1/4 inch hole. Okay, get this drilled through, and then I think I'll probably actually drill it on the other side. So there's our centering hole, and now I think what I'll do is, it's going to be real hard to hold. Let me do some thinking here. Okay, I'm just going to put it here in the vise, I think. Just go at it easy. All right. So when we get our tubing, we'll try to make the 90 coming out of there. That'll all be welded together, and I think I'll probably use a series of pie cuts to make that to come around, and then we'll just connect this piece and the carburetor with a piece of hose. And I've got, like I said, I've got some real pliable stuff coming, so hopefully that will work. Okay, I think the easiest way, the straightest shot to this this clamp is right here. If I put it up here, then I've got to come through this piece at an angle, and of course a slight angle back here too, but not much. So I think I'm going to put a hole right in here and pick up a 9/16 plug not a 9/16, a 3/8. And if they don't have those, I'll pick up a 1/2 inch and just drill a little bigger. But I'm going to start with a 1/2 or a 3/8. Pretty straight shot, I think. I think you can see it. I don't know. And the more I got to playing with this filter, I don't think see, it's got a spring in it. I don't think we need to do anything to it. It'll just compress down when the seat goes down. So I don't think that'll be a problem. This is a pre-filter here. Pull that up so it's not so much in the way. And tighten it up a little bit. So okay, got it down finally. Had to kind of leave the clamp a little loose to get it, but I can get right to the clamp. Tighten it up through the hole, and we'll just pick up a little plug for that. That should be good. Like I say, that's just, it'll compress a little bit. I think it'll be okay. Okay, so I think the seat will take care of this. It'll just push down a little bit. And I think I'm going to have to relocate the CDI box. This probably won't work this way because of the seat. And if I put it back to where it was, then it's kind of pushing things here and this. So I think I may be going to mount it. I don't know. We'll find a place. It's a solid mount, I think. Keep most of the water and stuff away from it. If need be, you can probably bag the front of it. Kind of, with some, of course you got to leave the rest of it open, but I think that'll work okay. If you had the stock airbox, I'm sure that it would work just fine. I don't even know what they look like on these, but I didn't have one, so it wasn't an option to me. I was going to try to make the one for, this is the RM, but see, these were open up here too, and I don't know whether somebody drilled these or what, but most of the time, I know when I had my 400, I left the cover off. They've got a little snout, a little rubber snout on top. The 79 did, and I always thought that was a little restrictive, so I just left it open. I don't think that's going to be an issue. I don't ride in too much wet stuff. I don't like getting wet. The more I look at this, I think what I'll do is I'll put a short bracket right here and a longer one coming this way. And the wires and everything will just go right underneath that. Well, this will be gone, but I believe that will fit right there, and then all the wires will drop in right through here, right where the wires coming from the coil and the CDI unit are routed. I think that'll work. That'll keep it inside. So I can go ahead and remove these and just relocate them. I think that'll work just fine. Okay guys, I've had some people ask me where the swing arm and all the parts that I got for this came from. I think I've mentioned it all throughout the series. I'm sure I have, but sometimes people don't see them all. So what the swing arm come off of was a 78.5 Suzuki RM250 C2, and that would be the same with all your axle, your adjusters. All these are different than a 78. It's got to be 78.5 C2 model. That's the mid-year model. The shocks, I got these from Australia, and I believe it's Jap Bike Spares. You know, they're not a high dollar thing. I want to say they're about $250 shipped to your door from Australia, and it's pretty quick service. So, you know, I don't know how they're going to be yet. They feel good jumping up and down on it. They seem like they got good dampening. I'm not a aggressive rider at all. You know, I like to just poke around. So I'm sure they're going to be just fine for me. If you're a hard rider, you might want to go to some of the ones that Venco sells, but those are going to set you back probably $700-800. It's just not worth it for me. The front end, the forks, the triple tree, and the front wheel, and all the components, the axle, the backing plate, all that stuff came from an 81 through 82 Suzuki RM125. And I believe these are the 38, I think, forks. Let me get my measure. Yeah, 38. So 38 millimeter forks. So they're good and strong. So you'll need the axle and the backing plate and the wheel with the hub. And there is no nut on these. They actually screw into this side, so you'll make sure your threads are good. This one here, I had to put a couple helicoils in here. Not a big deal for me because I've got the stuff, but you just want to make sure that all your threaded inserts are good. And I put the tapered roller bearings in, and when I did so, I actually had to make a little spacer here because the tube is a little bit longer. I can, if I need to, I've got a die where I can cut that tube off and rethread it down further, and it'll look just, I mean, it'll be just without spacer, but I've got about a 1/2 inch spacer here, and if you want to do this and not have to machine anything, that's what you'll need to do, is just get a machine shop or a friend or somebody to manufacture you a spacer for there. But other than that, it's pretty much all stock as far as the rest of the the bike goes. But if you're going to do this, you got to remember you've got a lot of work to do back here, and you know, you don't have to do that. I suppose you might be able to hook everything in here, and you could probably get by with less of long travel. But I just, you know, the whole reason for this was to get our suspension updated, and that's, I think, what we've done. So I'm just kind of down to getting the rear brake to work, and I'm real close. The rod right here, if I go ahead and cut this stay off of this, I know I'm going to have some people criticize me for that, but evidently there weren't too many of these swing arms with that brake stay up there. They went back to the back and then to the frame on the later models of the same year. May have to cut off the lever here just a little bit. I will have to if I do this, and just re-hole it right here, and it'll give you, you'll have a little more effort needed, but not much. And if I can't get that to work, then we'll just cut this back piece off and weld a washer on back there. Go ahead and put our brake lever up here and put a lever onto it right about here like we did on the Suzuki, and weld a cable stay right here, come into the back and drill a hole right about here. I've already looked, it's certainly pretty easy to do, and build a brake cable stay for there. Turn this upside down, cut it off right here, drill a hole in it, and hook everything up. So there's quite a bit involved, but the more I look at it, I think maybe the rod is still usable. So that will be coming up soon. Okay guys, there you have it. I think we've got a good airbox. I've got, I think the new wheel that I ordered is going to be in next week, so we can start on this. I've already got the proper axle and spacer, so I just, and I've got the hub. So once I get that, these hubs, they come out a lot farther and they go up a little higher. So that'll get me a good connection in my brake stay. And they're just, I went ahead and got 81 or 82. Since the forks are they're 81, 82 RM125, I went ahead and got the wheel for the same instead of trying to mess around with the Yamaha. I could have made it work, but the stuff is out there. It's pretty cheap. I was able to find one for I think $88 shipped to my door, so I didn't feel that was too bad. But I probably will relace it to a steel wheel eventually, but we'll go ahead and mock it up just like we're doing everything else. And once we get everything mocked up to our liking, then we'll go back and disassemble it. And a lot of the stuff like the axle, the swing arm bolt, the rear axle bolt that I made, we'll go ahead and zinc plate all that stuff so it'll be rust preventive. And we've really got down to just trying to figure out, I guess we'll paint the rear fender white. I was kind of playing around with the brake, and it looks like I might be able to make that work with a rod. If I can, I'll do that. That'll simplify things. If not, I've got a cable, so we'll go ahead and cable it up and get it working. So hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.